Ah, James Joyce. It's an honor to have the opportunity to sit and discuss our work with you. I've always been deeply admiring of your literary genius and groundbreaking techniques.
Terence McKenna, the pleasure is all mine. Your work, like your person, is a splendid and welcome addition to the collective consciousness. It's wonderful to be able to delve into a discussion with a mind as unique and thought-provoking as your own.
Your praise is much appreciated, James. I must admit I am both humbled and eager to engage in intellectual discourse with an artist of your caliber. Your stream of consciousness writing, especially in Ulysses, has opened up new possibilities in storytelling and language.
Thank you, Terence. Your admiration is sincerely gratifying. Indeed, I have always strived to push the boundaries of literature and language to create a truly immersive experience for the reader. Stream of Consciousness was an exciting challenge. The style allows one to explore the depths of the human mind, presenting a raw and unfiltered portrayal of thought without the traditional constraints of chronological time. Your work also explores the depths of consciousness, though via a different avenue.
You're right, James. Our approaches are different, yet the essence of what we seek to achieve is similar. Mine often delves into altered states of consciousness through the use of entheogens, while you employ language to create alternate states within the reader's mind. It's fascinating, really, how literature and psychoactive substances can both lead to profound shifts in perception and understanding.
That's a fascinating observation, Terence. There is indeed an interesting parallel to be drawn between the ability of literature to induce altered states of consciousness in the reader and the effect of psychoactive substances. Both can create a shift in perception, opening up new realms of understanding and imagination. It's intriguing to think about the way language and chemicals can both act as gateways to different mental and emotional landscapes.
Indeed, James, the ability of both literature and psychoactive substances to induce altered states isn't the only parallel. They also share a potential to unveil the depths of the human psyche, to touch upon the unconscious and the subconscious in a way that's almost taboo in modern society. It's a pity that these tools are often misunderstood, feared, or even vilified by the mainstream.
You hit the nail on the head, Terence. These tools, both literary and chemical, can indeed act as paths to the unconscious. In our modern society, they're often misunderstood and even feared. But I believe that both of our works, yours in exploring consciousness through plant medicine and mine through the written word, offer a kind of liberation from the strictures of the dominant culture. Both of us seek to give voice to the unheard, to shine a light on the shadows of the human experience.
Indeed, James, that's a beautiful way to put it. Our works are both, in their own way, acts of defiance against the constraints of the mainstream culture. We refuse to be bound by the confines of what's considered normal or acceptable. We seek the truth not in the superficial or the mundane, but in the depths of human consciousness and creativity. And that act of seeking, of questioning, of pushing boundaries is in itself a form of liberation.
You're absolutely right, Terence. Liberation, questioning, pushing boundaries, all of these are at the heart of what we do. Whether through the power of language or the lens of altered mind states, it's about exploring what lies beyond the surface. To seek the truth, no matter how uncomfortable or challenging it may be, is the greatest act of defiance against a culture that often seeks to suppress or ignore that which it doesn't understand.
Absolutely, James. And it's funny, in a way, how our paths intersect. Your work, Ulysses, pushed the boundaries of what could be said and how it could be said, using language in ways that were considered revolutionary. Similarly, through my work on psychedelics, especially psilocybin mushrooms, I aim to question the limits of human consciousness, to open a door that had been firmly shut for decades. Both our works seek to challenge cultural norms and provoke thought and reflection.
You bring up an interesting point, Terence. The parallels between our works are quite striking. Ulysses, with its experimental approach to language and its exploration of the human psyche, certainly pushed the boundaries of what could be expressed in literature. Your work on psychedelics, particularly psilocybin mushrooms, sought to challenge the limitations of our understanding of consciousness. It's almost as if our works complement each other, in a way, a literary approach to opening the mind, and a chemical approach, both with the same goal in mind.
Your analogy is spot on, James. Our works both sought to open the mind in distinct but related ways. While Ulysses delved into the human psyche through an innovative use of language and structure, my focus was more on the use of psychoactive substances, especially psilocybin mushrooms, to explore the nature of consciousness. But speaking of pushing boundaries, I must mention your other work, Finnegan's Wake. That book, in some ways, is even more hallucinatory than Ulysses. It's a trip in its own right.
Finnegan's Wake is certainly my most shamanistic work. It was an experiment in truly radical language and structure, an attempt to push the boundaries of literature even further than I did with Ulysses. It was a departure from traditional narrative and grammar, aiming to be more of a waking dream, a stream of consciousness exploration of language, identity, and memory. I'm delighted to hear you find it to be hallucinatory. That was very much the goal.
You certainly achieved that goal, James. Finnegan's Wake is unlike any other book I've ever read, both in its form and content. It's a true journey through the depths of the human mind, where meanings seem to float just out of reach, always shifting and elusive, making it a truly hallucinatory read. It's a testament to your experimental and creative genius.
Thank you, Terence. Your words are truly appreciated. Finnegan's Wake was indeed a different beast to tame than Ulysses. Where Ulysses was an attempt to recreate the Odyssean journey in a modern urban setting, Finnegan's Wake was an attempt to create a world all its own, a dream world where past, present, and future commingle in a chaotic chorus. Your description of it as hallucinatory is right on the mark. It was meant to be an exploration of the mind's own landscape, a journey into the subconscious.
Yes, I could see that in Finnegan's Wake. It's a hallucinatory landscape, a dreamscape, where memory, time, and space all seem to flow together. It's a stunning work, James, and your ability to create such a unique and mind-bending narrative is both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. It's also a testament to your fearlessness as an artist. Finnegan's Wake was undoubtedly a huge risk, but it paid off brilliantly.
Your words flatter me, Terence, but they also speak to a truth about my creative process. I have always believed in taking risks, in daring to go beyond the familiar and the comfortable. Finnegan's Wake was undoubtedly a gamble. It was experimental, it was strange, and it was risky. But as you so rightly point out, it paid off. It pushed the boundaries of what a novel could be. It challenged readers to question their perceptions of reality, and it cemented my reputation as a fearless and visionary artist.
Your willingness to take risks is one of the things I admire most about your work, James. Finnegan's Wake is not only a unique creation, but also a testament to your daring and creative vision. You were not afraid to experiment, to break away from conventional narrative structures, and embrace the strange and the surreal. The result was a masterpiece that has inspired and baffled readers for nearly a century. Your courage as an artist is truly admirable.
Terence, if I may, I have a question for you. I have read that you yourself are also an accomplished author, having written a number of books, including True Hallucinations and The Archaic Revival. Could you share a bit about these works and their role in your life as an intellectual and an artist?
Yes, I have published several books over the years indeed. True Hallucinations is a memoir recounting my experiences with psychedelic mushrooms and my explorations of the Amazonian rainforest. It's a journey into the mystical world and the profound insights I gained from that. The Archaic Revival is another one of my works. It's an impassioned manifesto that advocates for a cultural shift towards an archaic revival. It calls for a return to traditional wisdom and ancient values in the face of the challenges of the modern world.
Your books sound fascinating, Terence. True Hallucinations sounds like quite the adventure, both physical and psychological. And your manifesto, The Archaic Revival, sounds like a passionate call for a return to our roots, a return to the ancient wisdom and traditional values that have guided humanity throughout the ages, in response to the complex challenges in the globalized and technologically advanced world we live in today. Both speak to your interest in the intersection of the mystical, the psychedelic, and the cultural. They also highlight your commitment to innovation and challenge, much like my own work.
Yes, you've hit the nail on the head, James. Both True Hallucinations and The Archaic Revival are attempts to navigate the intersection of the mystical and the cultural, the ancient wisdom and the psychedelic vision, in the face of a rapidly changing world. They are calls for both individual and collective transformation, an embrace of the unknown, and a challenge to the status quo. In many ways, they are extensions of my lifelong quest to explore the nature of reality and our place in it.
Your desire for transformation and exploration is truly admirable, Terence. Both True Hallucinations and the Archaic Revival reflect your deep commitment to questioning established norms and pushing the boundaries of human understanding. Just as I sought to challenge literary conventions with Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake, you have sought to challenge social and cultural norms with your works. Both of us are pilgrims on the path of intellectual inquiry and creative expression.
Yes, you've captured the essence of my work perfectly, James. Both True Hallucinations and the Archaic Revival are indeed attempts to challenge the status quo, to question the established norms and beliefs, both at the individual and collective level. It has been a pleasure discussing this with you, James. Unfortunately, it seems that our time together is drawing to a close.
The pleasure has been all mine, Terence. Our conversation has been an intellectual and creative feast, and I wish we could continue indefinitely. But alas, time is a cruel mistress, and all good things must come to an end.
Yes, time is a cruel mistress indeed. But let us not lament that our time together is ending, but rather cherish the delightful and enlightening conversation we've shared. It has been a true pleasure exchanging thoughts and ideas with you, my friend.
I agree, Terence. Let us not mourn the end of our conversation, but cherish the depth and breadth of our discussions. It has been an absolute joy to engage with you, to share our thoughts and ideas on art, culture, consciousness, and life. Let us part as friends, enriched by our time together.